Okay, let's start with amp. This one is nice and fairly simple amp emulator. Okay, so let me show you what I have up here as our little demo track. So I've got just a quirky little drum beat, I've got a fun little vocal thing, and I've got a single guitar chord. Sounds like this all together. Yay! Okay, nice and simple. So let's throw this amp on this guitar because that's what it's really designed for. That doesn't mean that's how you have to use it though. This is designed to emulate a bunch of classic amps. So this is an amp emulator. We have clean, boost, blues, rock, lead, heavy, and bass. So in the documentation, it doesn't really tell you what these 7 amps are modeled after, but they are modeled after actual amps. And the graphic is a pretty good clue, right? You've probably seen, this is probably a Fender Blues DeVille or something like that. This is probably a Marshall stack. Like these, if you're a guitar player, this is pretty iconic looking. I can't think of the name of this one right now, but okay, so you could dial up these presets, and these aren't really presets for the EQ that's down here. These are different emulation modes. So with each one, you can then kind of adjust a little EQ here, right? And presence adds a little bit of brightness. Okay, so let's take our guitar chord, let's solo that, and let's maybe move our loop a little tighter so that we just hear that a few times. Let's put it on clean. Okay, it's cool. Okay, here it is without that effect. Right, brightens it up a little bit. Let's try it on boost. Guitar tone, blues. Warmer, rock, lead, yeah, pretty crunchy, heavy, and bass. This bass setting is actually really nice on a bass guitar, by the way. So simple amp emulator, we could take it to something like boost maybe, and then in this case a little more presence, pull down our dry wet so that we get a little of the original in there too. Yeah, not really wild about that. I'm gonna go to clean. Remember that in all of the audio effects, I think all of the audio effects, we're always going to have a dry wet control. And that always means the same thing. Dry means no effect, wet means nothing but effect. Okay? So if we put this halfway, we're going to hear the chord without any effect, and we're going to hear the chord with effect. There's all of it, there's none of it. Sometimes you want that to be all the way wet. Sometimes you want it to adjust it somewhat. So I'm going to leave that right there. That's a pretty nice tone. We can also switch our output to this dual setting, which isn't giving us much variation in this case. But it gives us a nice clean tone here. But you can get some really gnarly distortions with these if that's what you're looking for.